The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's Platinum webinar with your host, Todd Walters.
Well, thanks, Andrea. Hey, welcome, everyone. And nice to talk to you. I'm going to recommend that you get settled in right now to your seat, grab a pad, grab a pen, and let's work off of a list of things to do. If you got the promo and you read it for today's webinar, then you know that one of the things I talked about in it was, why is it that many of our members are super successful, millionaire, multi-millionaire real estate agent businesses, and then there are others that seem to struggle a little bit. What's the difference is, why is it that, some of them just can't seem to break beyond a certain level or plateau their businesses? What does it really take to be super successful here using this system that everybody on this webinar is paying for? So one of the things as we get started is using your notepad and your pen, like writing it down and making it happen. So don't think that that doesn't count for much of what needs to get done. You must have a plan, and we're going to get into discussing that. So it starts with using your pen and your pad. So get comfortable, try to minimize distractions, and focus on what we're going to be working on today, which is your business. And that will be another one on the list, is actually working on your business versus in it all the time. So enough with the generalities. Let's get into the specifics, and to help us do that, we got the master himself, developer of the Quantum Leap system, Mr. Millionaire Agent Maker, Craig Proctor. Craig, how you doing, my man?
Oh, you're making me blush over here.
I know better.
How you doing, Mr. Walters?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Staying busy. I was in California for a few days there with a softball tournament, national tournament. We came in second, and which is great. Everybody thinks that's fantastic, being number 2 in the country. But I got to tell you, it didn't feel good. We wanted to win the thing. We go to do this to win a national championship, just like we do in our business, right? We wake up every day to be the best business that we can be. We don't like losing the competitors' listing appointments, buyers and transactions, everything else. So, outside of business, in the real world, at least in my world, the same thing exists.
All right, well, I will not congratulate you for being number 2 then.
There you go. That would be fun.
Okay, so how should we get started here?
Well, the first thing we want to do is make sure that everybody is set up and registered for what we've got coming up here, September 17th, 18th, and 19th in Anaheim. And I know that we talk about that, but on these calls, and we want to take an opportunity, a few minutes, to make sure that everybody's well aware of what you're going to get when you come. And let me make sure that everybody understands getting stuff, materials, and not just knowledge, not just learning things, but actually getting physical stuff that you can take back to your business and put to work to get more business, I think is a big deal. So we don't want to let today get away with at least plugging what we believe is going to be our biggest and best Millionaire Agent Maker conference ever.
Well, Todd, it's not just getting the stuff, but it's learning how to use the stuff. I really like the analogy that I'm sure everyone on this webinar here has heard this analogy, maybe not, but when you talk about if somebody gave you the keys to a McDonald's franchise and they said, hey, good luck with that. You bought the McDonald's franchise, and they didn't give you any training on how to use it. Would they be successful? The answer is no, they would not be. Because it's not just having the tools, it's having the training on how to use the tools. So I want everyone to be clear that not only are you going to get the stuff, not only are you going to get all the marketing materials and the systems, but you're going to get an in-depth training on how to use all this stuff. Because just having the stuff, as we all know, is absolutely useless unless you know exactly how to implement it and are trained, how to get the best results with it. Because if that doesn't happen, then all of the stuff that you would get at a meeting, as we also know, it doesn't get implemented because it's too hard. So we plan on making it easy for you to implement all of the stuff, all of the systems, all the things that you're going to get at the conference.
Yep. And just to highlight that a little bit, I just threw up on my screen the folder that I've got here, where these are the materials that are going to be handed out in the books on the USB stick. And this is just, that's about half of what's going to be discussed and given. So that's a lot right there. If we just took 15 minutes and explained each one of these things, it would take almost 3 days. So anyway, just to give everybody a good look at that. So yep, get to the coaching site, get registered, and make your travel arrangements to be there. There is nothing like working on your business, and association matters. Association matters. Who you hang out with, who you learn from, it matters every day. So we want to plug everybody watching this webinar into association with mega successful members using our system here, and we'll all be the better for it. So anyway, Craig, I know you've been working hard on this, and I've been working hard on this upcoming conference in Anaheim. So to combine those two things together, we're in for a great time. So on the first day, it's me and you, is that right?
That's correct, as always.
Okay, and yep, and an all-star panel and a lineup of other members that are doing very well, sharing with everyone what's working as well as what's not working in their business, and a few giant surprises that we're not going to let out of the bag right now. So if you're not there, you'll miss out. Okay, and anybody's welcome to ask any questions at any time about that. You know, Craig, I've heard over the years, you know, that I've been working with you here. People will say from time to time that haven't been around a while. They're kind of new to the system. They will make comments that, you know, they were just there. They were just at the conference a few months ago, so there's no, quote, reason to come back. And
well, then you would be assuming that you have it all, and that you could come to one conference and get it all, and there's nothing ever new at the next one, and that you could actually, you know, you could actually absorb all of this and go back home and do it. And you and I have, Todd, we've never seen anyone be able to do that. Come to a conference and go back and do what took us 20 years to do. So the learning never stops, and the conferences always change, and this needs to be part, if you're committed to this system, it needs to just be something that you do, where you come to our events and you learn how to get the most out of the event. And I think some of you maybe need a crash course on how to get the most out of the event, because it is possible to go to the event and not get the most out of it. So, you know, who do you talked about association, who do you hang out with? Do you prepare to come to the events? What is it that when you come to the event, you should have a list of things that you want to take back from the event, things that you want to accomplish, who you're going to speak to at the event, not just Todd and I, but who you're going to speak to, who you're going to hang out with at lunch, who you're going to hang out with at the end of each day, who you want to network with. Just if you do it right, just the referrals you get would make you a lot of money just from coming to the conferences. But you know, some of you know that when you come back, you hear things in a different way. Maybe you hear things you didn't hear the first time, and there's always new. There's always the new and improved tweaking that we do to what exists, and you know, learning from the people in the program is also an important part of this. I also hear this from our members over and over again, that they need this shot in the arm, right? That you come back. That's part of it is to get that shot in the arm, because it does kind of wear off after a few months, and by coming back over and over again, you really keep yourself plugged into the program.
yep, and
it's like you wouldn't go to the gym once or twice and say, well, I've got it.
no, it wouldn't. That never seemed to work for me, actually. Not that I didn't try. Okay, all right. Let's get to work here. We've got some work to do. We've got a special guest coming on here in about 15 minutes that we want to discuss with as well. But what I want to get into before our special guests arrive, Craig, is there are really only two things that are going on here with the Quantum Leap system. You know, that you've given us your business plan, right? We have the plan and we have the system. And those are pretty general, when it comes to being super successful here. But let's face it, the members that are the most successful, they get it, they understand it, but there are some commonalities here. There are things that they do differently than what others do. And I kind of want to run through the list as best we can here in the next few minutes and really detail for everybody watching this webinar that's not netting $1 million in income from your real estate business every year, because we consider that to be, pretty much top of the pyramid, net 1 million or more. It's possible. We've got people doing that. We did it. We want everybody to do it. If that's what you want to do, we want you to do that. So let's just take a look then at why some are so successful, many are so successful, and others, may not be. So now I got some good perspective on this, Craig. I understood what I was getting from you when I first connected up with you in the mid '90s, and that was a business plan, a plan to grow my real estate business into a real estate business, an actual plan to do it, and a system of systems to be able to carry it out. I knew very well that's what I was getting. That's what I was paying for. That's what I was buying. And it was my ability to implement, to copy and implement, that would make it successful. So just like that, if we use the McDonald's franchise, if I'm opening a McDonald's franchise in, say in Midtown Atlanta, even though the systems that I'm using to put another McDonald's in Alpharetta, Georgia, are the same, the people that I'm going to be hiring, there's a little different there. There's a little different culture. There's a little different type of people. Some people in Alpharetta, Georgia, might like the hamburgers a little bit more than the people in Midtown Atlanta. Maybe they like the salads a little bit more. So there is something to say for different markets, but the systems are the same. But the application of it, like message to media to market match, is a little bit different. So that's where the coaching comes into play. And you mentioned that a little bit earlier of why it's so important to get to our conference in Anaheim, is that you wouldn't buy your McDonald's franchise and not be involved in the coaching and the training. It wouldn't work without it. It's the same thing here, message to media to market match. So talk to us a little bit then, Craig, real quickly about just the overall plan, having a plan to be able to grow the real estate business from your perspective.
Okay, well, the important question to ask yourself is, how big could your business be if it didn't depend on you? And firstly, I asked that question about buyers. That was my thinking, is how many buyers could I work with if it had nothing to do with me? And of course, the answer is there's no limit to the number of buyers. So that's the first thing I focused on, was how do I replace what I do with buyers and make it have nothing to do with me at all. And then when it worked with buyers, by hiring buyer agents and spending a lot of time training them, like you always say, Todd, I built a fence around that. So the leads came in, the buyers, the buyer system was developed, so I didn't speak with the buyers, I didn't meet with the buyers. I was just involved in managing the system and training and managing the team members. And then I did the same thing with the seller side of my business. So I guess the steps are, first of all, lead generation, because if you want to grow a big business, you have to understand lead generation. Some of you are much better than others. And then you've got to get over this idea that you should be part of your business. I liked what you said, Todd, at the Titanium meeting that we just held. You said, I don't know if I'm saying it quite right, but you said something like, the more you focus on being a better agent, the more difficult it's going to be in having a $1 million business, right? So, and Michael Gerber says the same thing in his book. He says something like this. He's talking to a technician, and he says, to the technician. He says, so, so Michael, are you saying that if I really want to be successful at this, I need to stop doing this? And Michael Gerber says, yes. So that's the mindset that you need to have, is to really be a successful agent. You can't be an agent. To have a successful agent business. Okay, so most of us are really trying hard to have a better agent job. And that's what's ingrained into our psyche, right? That's what the industry tries to reinforce over and over again, is that you want to become better at what you do, better at the job of being an agent. And what this is all about is the real estate agent business, having a true business that eventually works without you, or at least to some degree without you, and makes you more money net in your pocket than you ever could possibly make having a job as a real estate agent. The business has to do more for you than the real estate agent job, and it does. For those of you that are on the other side of this now, and you actually have a business and the thing runs or without you completely or mostly without you, life is good. But it's going to be a little bit work to cross that threshold. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But the hardest thing to change is your mindset on this. That's once you change the way you think about this, what you actually have to do to make it happen really is not that difficult at all.
Yep, I'll give you an example. One of the first things that we address, when a coaching member moves into the Platinum program, is the answer to the question of why I would choose to list my house with you over and above anybody else or any other option. And until the member understands that part of the Quantum Leap system, that you must have a unique selling proposition, without that, not much changes. Not much changes. So there has to be a differentiator in that element, because we know how to generate leads, but at some point we have to convert leads to signed agreements to become clients, and then we have to move the client along that whole process of buying and selling a house. And conversion of strangers is easier, basically imminent, if with unique selling proposition. And so the buyer benefits presentation, the listing presentation for Platinum members, all of those, that both of them contain nothing but unique selling propositions. Every line, just about every sentence, every slide is a unique selling proposition that differentiates us from our competitors. And that USP provides comfort to the buyer or the seller on several reasons. Number one, it gives them what they want, exactly what they want. Sellers want access to buyers, buyers want access to houses, so we're giving them what they want, and we're reversing the risk, so we're taking the risk element out of it. And all that, everything else that we do here, that makes the prospect become comfortable, pre-sold on doing business with us. And that's just one example. Obviously in an hour and a half long webinar, we can't cover the entire Quantum Leap system here. This is why that every session matters. Not missing sessions with your coach, they matter. Daily implementation of the plan and the system matters, and especially not missing out on the live events matter. Okay, so let's drill down to one specific element, Craig. One thing that I learned from you early on in the mid-'90s, and this will tie in our special guest when it comes to differentiation, and that is statistical USPs. Okay, a lot of our members come in, with some hesitancy and reluctance of, making a bold promise of a performance guarantee, like your home sold or I'll buy it. And I understand and I get that, but just about every person that we bring into our system is a full-time real estate professional, meaning they're selling houses, they got listings that they're selling, they got buyers that they're working with, And if we look at statistically the business they're doing, they're selling their listings on average for more money than the board's average. They're selling them faster than the board's average, and their listings are more likely to sell. And that is something that everyone can drill down and do, but they lack the understanding or maybe the concept of the tool to do it with. Okay, so I remember many years ago you turned me on to the tool that you used, and that was Leon D'Ancona and his system, the reality, and then that grew into basically leveraging it for marketing, leveraging it to get agents that we wanted to come and work for us, and all of those sort of things. So talk a little bit about just the simplicity of one thing, one tool, statistical USPs, growing into all those other elements of implementation of the plan and using that system.
All right, can you still hear me?
Yeah, man.
Okay, I've lost all my internet here, so it's a good thing I called in on the telephone. Hopefully everybody has Leon's basic program at least, maybe not the advanced program, but Leon was a great find for me, and way back when I started using Leon Stats, I used to carry around these little books, little printed books that Leon would prepare for me. But it helped my business in so many different ways, and it'll help all of you. Of course, the program that you guys all have is really awesome. I mean, it really is so much better than the tools, Todd, that you and I had way back when. But if you don't know your numbers and you don't know what's going on in the marketplace, it's kind of like flying an airplane through the dark, through the fog, without any radar. And what happens is you make really, really bad decisions. So that's the first way I use statistics, is to help me make good decisions when it comes to target market, when it comes to what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing, who I should be talking to with my marketing message, who I should not be talking to with my marketing message. Of course, I use all those statistics for recruiting. We're talking today about building a business and hiring people to do the work. Well, you need to know who you should be targeting, who you should not be targeting. And of course, it really helped me win listings when I could compare myself to all the other agents that I competed with. So my recommendation is you want to get whatever Leon has to offer, and more than just buy it, you want to understand it. I see people buy Leon's program, and they don't really get it, they don't really understand it, and so therefore they don't maximize the use of this thing. But I get nothing for promoting Leon. He doesn't pay me a penny. There's no commission or anything payable to me. I've always wanted Leon just to offer the lowest, best price he can to all of our members, because that's how much I believe in his program. So when you're trying to set yourself apart from other agents, there's really three USP platforms, right? You're going to have your performance guarantees, like your guaranteed sale program or whatever performance guarantee you choose. And then you're going to have unique services that you offer, perhaps like the Sunday tour of homes. And then you're going to have statistical USPs. And when you tie all three of these together, it makes for pretty compelling marketing, because these shocking performance guarantees get prospects' attention. You let the public know how you're able to offer these shocking performance guarantees because of the unique services that you have and the amazing statistics that you have. And then the final ingredient is to back all that up with really, really good testimonials. I used that mix in my marketing, on all my branded marketing, and it worked very, very well.
Yep, that ends up being actually 6 parts of a unique selling proposition. So I actually invited Esther with Leon's office onto the webinar. I'm going to open up her microphone right now. Esther, are you there?
I'm here. Leon's going to take it over. I'm going to work the mouse, and he's going to do the talking.
Okay. Esther is our, good afternoon, everybody. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. Craig and I go back well over 20 years, and I'm proud of what Craig has achieved in thousands and thousands of students, and I'm always appreciative of the fact that he promotes us because we are a good product. Esther is the platinum guru, and she knows more about the program than I do. And the other thing is that Craig mentioned that we welcome you to visit, those of you who already have the program, and explore all the various things that we're going to do. And if there's enough platinums, we will have, and I'll coordinate this with Craig, we will have little seminars that you can attend. So today, the topic is that some make millions. I thought you might want to know that there's 5,939 millionaire agents in our database, the databases that we have, and there's likely a few more. And I'd like to point out today 3 ways platinum members become millionaires using reality. It's recruiting, location, and information. And in the next, say, 20 minutes or so, I'll cover each. And we're going to go to reality now.
All right, so why don't I flip it over to Leon, and you can show us, Leon, exactly what you're talking about, because that sounds extremely interesting. So here we go. Hang on. And
Todd, you're going to have to flip it over, the webinar over, and make sure it's working, because as I said, I've got no internet here at all. I'm fortunately connected by a phone line, so I can still talk to you guys
Okay, let's
here.
see if anybody has internet. You should be seeing us now. Any of the participants?
Yep, you're all good there.
Okay,
take it away.
Great. So the first thing I wanted to cover is I'm going to do Phoenix, and I don't know how many, we do all of the United States, but we got to start one. It amazes me how little people know about the areas, and they seem to cover one area that's perhaps close to their homes. And the first thing we start with is filters. Now you have a whole bunch of different things that you can do with it. And I'd like to go to zip codes in Phoenix. I'm going to have a look at all the zip codes that there are, and they're arranged by units in alphabetical order. And I'm going to pick one zip code, 85331. Would that be an area that would be profitable for me? So the first thing I'm going to look at is that the zip code has 8,000, zip code 85331 has 762 units sold in the last 12 months, and here is the volume and so on. Then I can take Google and actually see where that area is in Phoenix. So here are the 762 units, and if you're in Phoenix or in your own city, you know your city well, you know the driving time between one or the other, and you can have a look at what that territory involves, what's the income and so on. Next, what we could do is we could have a look at the kind of homes. If you walk into a 7-Eleven, the owner likely knows how many kind of potato chips he buys and what flavor. And we seem to just, many of us anyway, seem to just figure, oh, well, it's a good area and it's houses. So let's have a look. In this area, starter homes are from 0 to 425. Move-up homes are from 425 to 550, and the red ones are 550 and up. So if I wanted to see, for example, what kind of a home that is, I could click on it. That home sold for $579,000. So while Craig was talking about the time that we did books today, we have Google Street Search for every home that was sold, and you can just sit there in your armchair and in just 15 to 20 minutes pick the right area. Would you like to know what kind of streets there are. Here in this particular zip code is all the streets and how many units sold. So it doesn't take a nuclear physicist to see where you should be sending your mail if that's what you're going to do. So we see here that North 43rd has 17 units sold, and as we go down, we see that over here 30% of all sales are in 8% of the streets. Now, how better does it get for you to take any territory, even a proposed one, if you want to know and sit down with 10, 15 spare minutes and say, well, maybe this would be a good place for me to work in addition to, because the demographics of real estate do change, and that's what you need to do. So what we're going to do now is recruiting. And I think that's one of the finest things, because the first thing you want to do with recruiting might be to get an idea just what the average agent does in Phoenix. And this will really surprise you. So what we're going to do is we're going to do combined ends. And we see that we have 22,248 participants who had a transaction in the last 12 months, out of which 5,075, are you ready for this, folks? 5,075 did one transaction. 3,205 had two transactions. And when we get to three transactions, virtually half of all the real estate agents did less than 3 units, and it gets even worse. Talk about becoming a millionaire. Let's do performance by dollars. Guys who sold $1 million worth of real estate at 2.5%, that would get them $25,000. They'd be lucky if they kept half. That is the state of real estate. And when we talk to the Platts, the opportunities are unlimited, because when you see half of real estate are, well, what's a polite way of saying that? We call it underperformance, but Esther and I speak about them as losers. You know, we don't call these people. Now, what it does mean to you is that the market is wide open for you. If you made your mind up just to go after 5% of all these people, you'd be rich. You'd be a millionaire right there. So now let's go to how we actually recruit. We're going to take the combined agents, and we're going to just take this and bring it back here. All right. We're going to take the, you want to go back for a minute and show us the combined agents? So this is 22,251 agents that you can choose from to recruit, and it's all there in fractions of seconds, because everything today is on cloud, and we're the first, of course, to have this all done. But who would possibly want to sit down and call 22,000? And I want to tell you that if people are going to come to you, they're going to come to you because of your charisma. So you don't have all day to sit there and call people. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do an advanced search. And Esther is really, really good at this. And she's going to choose, she's chosen to find agents who did between 15 and 20 transactions with an average sale of greater than or equal to 400,000. In other words, she wanted guys who really know what they were doing. So now I got 98 agents that meet that criteria. And if I want to, I could eliminate any one of these by typing in, I don't want any agents from Realty Exec. So let's pick one particular agent out of there to see what you can do. And who did you
Michael
just pick?
Casely.
Michael Casely. Michael Casely works for Realty Executives in Scottsdale. Here is all the cities he works in: Carefree, Cave Creek, Paradise Island, Phoenix, etc., and so on. One of the new things that the Platts is going to have in the version 16, which is going to be tested, you can become a tester for this, would be he's in the top 7.69% by transactions. In other words, 92% did not do what he do, and he's in the top 91.45% by dollar volume. So he's a top agent. If you want to see, and so here's the problem. You call these guys, they never return your call. You know, about 12% will call you back. Of course, if you're doing a transaction with them, they'll call you back. Other than that, they won't call you back. So how do you get 60% callbacks so you make your time worthwhile? Because if your time is just sitting there, you might as well, become a telemarketer. What you do is, let's see, this guy had 12 listing ends. He had 7 buying ends. And down here, we have the entire database benchmark. Now let's see. His performance for listing ends is he sells homes 23% faster than average. Well, I think he would make a great Platt assistant. He also has 5% higher than average double ends, which is sort of neat. So here's the way the call goes. Yeah, because you won't fight them. If they're good, they're not in the office. And usually if they're in the office, they're no good. So this is our eternal problem. We call them up, we leave them a message, say, "Hi, Michael, sorry to have missed you, but did you realize that you sell homes 23% faster than average? Did you know you were that good? Please give me a call back. My name is Leon, 785-4321, extension 201. And you bet he'll call you back. When he calls you, let's find out what else we can find out about him. We can click Google and actually see where he sold homes, just about here. So if you want to see the type of home, we could do that. This is what he sold. Here's the entrance. I'm just trying to find out whether you go through the garage or not. Very interesting house. So you have a very, very good idea about the agent you're calling. We're back to here. Here's his performance when he works with buyers. He buys it for almost 0.75% lower than average, and he saves the buyer $1,580. Trust me, he doesn't know any of this. Down here, we can have a look at where he's selling his exact, and we can even do this by zip code and so on. And here we have his 6-year performance. Last year he did 7. This year he did 14 already. This guy is on a tear, right? It was 6 years of performance tells you, and down here you can see exactly where all the addresses that he actually sold. It doesn't get much better. It does one way. That what you do is you print it out. And all you need to see on your desk is pick 10 of these guys, select them carefully. Don't sling enough spaghetti that some of it is going to stick, because it usually never sticks for very long. It always falls down. So do yourself a favor. Pick the right agents and then print it. And all you need is pick 10 agents and put one on top of the other. And when Michael calls you back, he'll say, "Michael, hi, this is Michael returning your call." You'll say, because you have him on your desk, "Hi, Michael Casley, how are you? How are things at Realty Executives? The reason I called you is because you sell homes 23% faster than average." And then you go into why he should work for you. And 2 things happen, because you can retrieve that information in 3 to 4 seconds. He's going to think, oh, this Craig Faulkner guy, he must have sat up all night studying my statistics. How else would he know it that quickly, that fast? Because all of us put stuff in Excel and whatever, and it takes us 45 seconds to a minute to retrieve data. And in the meantime, we sound silly and talk about the weather, but the other side knows. So this is how you should be recruiting. Esther, I think you should talk a little bit more about filters, or
We want to show them about looking for offices that might be ripe for a takeover.
that's a very good idea.
Great.
How many offices do you think there are in Phoenix that did $1 million or less? Let's find out. So we're going to do in our value, this is our advanced search, less than $1 million. Wow. Would you believe 1,300 exactly did $1 million? Now, everybody knows, let's pick the first guy?
Well, we'll choose Battle. I like
Okay.
Battle.
Okay. Let's do Battle. So this Battle guy did just under $1 million, right? He sold. So I want to know what I just did in a hurry. I'll repeat that. Can we go back for a minute? So this is Battle Realty, right? The guy sold a total of 9 listings. His average sale is $111,022. And now we're going to see, I'd like to know how many agents there are in Battle Realty. So let's go to reports, and because this is part of my criteria up here, my criteria box, it turns out that it's Alvin L. Battle. He is the rainmaker there. Well, you can call him up and say the day he joins you is the day his expenses stop, and he gets a receptionist, and he can actually go. Now, there's 1,300 people you can call. Nobody even thinks of that. I don't know why, but I speak to long-term brokers and so on, and it never occurred to them how many companies you can take over. Sometimes, usually, the smaller they are, there may be 2 agents. One does 10, and the other one does 1. So this is a great way to recruit. We'll go to the end of this. And we don't have too much time left.
We want to show them about the great crafts that you can do for
Yes.
meetings.
When all is said and done, why do I pick the realtor? Think about your doctor or your lawyer, or why are you loyal to them? Because they profess professionalism. You walk in and they know everything. So let me show you how you can become a real estate guru in minutes. So you're in Phoenix, and you're going to go to what city? You're going to go to, let's go to.
All right. We'll bring the busy ones to the top of the list here, and we'll do.
We go to Scottsdale, okay?
Scottsdale.
And we add that to the search, and the whole thing goes to Scottsdale. Now, in minutes, we're going to do, I want to know how long it takes to sell a home in Scottsdale.
Okay. Well,
So we'll just go to graphs. We say days on market. And last month it took 98.3 days to, so I say to Mrs. Vendor, I really appreciate the faith that you put in me, wanting to give me a 30-day or 60-day listing. The only unfortunate part is I have this graph here that it took 98 days, and that's simply not working. So I'm going to simply put down 120 days, if that's okay with you. No argument, no muss, no fuss. You have the proof. Let's go. Next graph. Average sold to ask ratio, 96.67% last month. Now, Mrs. Vendor, I'm going to get you the very best price that I can. But you need to understand that I don't control the market, and I can't take a gun and go out in the street and force somebody to buy your home. So I'm a victim of the marketplace just as much as you are. So last month it was 96.67%. Let's move on. How many people paid 100% of the last asking price? And I stress the word last. And last month it was 19%. So if you wonder why my commission is as high as you think it is, another 4 out of 5 buyers, I'm going to be up till 1 o'clock at night working for you. So don't begrudge me my commission. Moving on. And how many units actually sold? So it's been pretty steady there. One more. Now that's interesting. If I bought a home 1 year ago on August the 14th, in August of 2014, and I sold it last month, my return on the investment would have been 5.6%. And if you do that over 2 years, what would that be? That would be less. So that's why truth, lies, and statistics. I wouldn't show this graph, and therefore I encourage you to always know these graphs are available. You print them. They work on all the pads, on your laptop, whatever. It makes you the most informed agent a client is going to meet, and gives you listings each and every time. I want to thank you for listening to me. And my time's up, but I look forward to you calling Esther, and here is her information. By the way, let's go over here first. Craig Proctor is quite right when he says that he doesn't take a penny out of this, and because of his vast buying power, you would normally pay, we don't even make this product for anybody else except Platinum members, but if we did, it would be $1,495. It's yours for $985 annually, and it's refreshed every month. I want you to see Esther's contact. She's our Platinum specialist. You call her, we're on Eastern time, or email her, Esther at Real Estate Statistics. She'll look after you, and I assure you that you will find our program worthwhile. Anybody that calls us and say it wasn't, we'll give you back your money. Thank you again. And
Okay,
have
thanks,
a wonderful,
Leon.
wonderful day.
That's great. Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks,
that.
guys.
Thanks, Esther. Okay, so let's get back to our list here because I want to highlight that just a little bit. So hopefully you guys wrote down Leon's number. There are a few questions there. Let me bring those up here. I'm going to make myself the presenter again here. And let me flip that around. Hang on one second there. Whoops. How do I do that? There we go. Make presenter. Okay, so get back to my computer. Screen. There we are. Okay. All right. There were a few questions that were asked there, so let's get those out of the way here real quick, specifically on the system. Andrea, can you see those questions?
Yes, I can. I can see. Would you like me to read them? I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry, I had muted myself too much.
Questions down.
I can.
Okay.
A couple of these.
You guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I have still no internet, so unfortunately I wasn't able to see one thing that Leon was showing, but I'm here. I'm here in audio only.
Okay, well let me preface it. What Leon just did there in the 15 minutes, 20 minutes that he was talking was basically giving a quick demonstration of the program that he put together exclusively for the Platinum members. Okay. And so if you're a Platinum program member, you can get that system. You don't have to be a broker. You can use it. And he just showed a handful of ways that we use it. So now, Craig, I use this system regularly here in my real estate business to do all the things that he just talked about, primarily for recruiting. What brokerages in town are producing, which ones are falling behind, which ones are trending upwards, which ones are gaining agents, which ones are losing agents, who's selling homes in what area, who should I compete with, who should I not compete with, how should we go about finding agents, who are they, where are they working right now, where are they selling, what areas should we focus in, what areas should we not focus in. Those are a lot of questions to do this thing right. Most of our members just write checks. They just put money on their credit cards and write checks for anything. So they spend an awful lot of money and time doing things that don't get them good results, and then question why it doesn't get them good results. So you can invest $900 and something here one time a year and save tremendous amounts of time and money doing it the correct way. So what everybody was exposed to over the last few minutes was one of the systems, the tools, and methods for growing my real estate business since I met Craig Proctor. So from a member standpoint, Craig said, hey, Todd, you need to get involved with Leon here and get this system. Here's how we use it and what we do. It's part of the Quantum Leap system to better answer your questions and do the things you need to do here. My response was, okay. I did it, and yeah, it was a game changer. So anyway, let's get to the questions that we have on it. Andrea, I'll let you read those so Craig can see them or hear about them, and he'll be the best one to answer those.
Well, with your overview, you did answer a lot of them. One participant was asking if they needed to be a broker, and you already answered that. We have another from Angel. My reality program does not have all the same tabs that we saw with Leon. Is it a different subscription? How do they get what they just saw?
Well, it is a different subscription, I would imagine. The one that we looked at here is exclusively made for Platinum members. So, Craig, at the Super Conference, you talk about this program or something similar to it that Leon has, his company has. That's a different price point. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, the basic program that Leon offers to coaching members at the coaching level, is $29, and it doesn't allow you to go in and use all the recruiting tools. All right. So the advanced program is what Leon was talking about today, and it's only for members that are Platinum or above. Now, as I said, unfortunately, I couldn't see everything he was showing you here, but yes, the advanced Platinum level version is not what it's. People in coaching don't get that. This is only for Platinum members, and it has all of the extra features that right now, if you only have the $29 a month version, that's why yours looks different, because this is the plus system for Platinum above.
So basically, for another $500, $550, that we get the advanced system that'll do anything and everything that you need it to do. Now, so let's talk about it.
That's the system that I had.
Okay.
And Todd, that's the system that you had. And he used to refer this as the broker version. So there's the agent version and there's the broker version. So if you look at it this way, if you're in coaching, you have access to the agent version of reality. If you're in Platinum or above, you have the broker version. And of course, what do brokers want to do? Brokers want to recruit. So that's one of the big advantages of the broker version over the agent version. You don't lose anything. So you still have all the stuff you have in the agent version, but the broker version or the Platinum Plus version has all the extra things that Platinum members at this level really, you guys want what Todd and I had.
Yeah, like I don't know how you can run your real estate business without these tools, a system like this. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I know how people do it. They spend money arbitrarily, which ends up being not as strategic, especially in recruiting agents. I mean, people, like Craig, I put this new real estate company together 36 months ago, and we've gone from 0 to, I don't know, we're going to do well over $5 million, $6 million in GCI this year. And I was at nothing 3 years ago, and people know how in the world that's possible. Well, it's because I've already been down this road one time using.
Yeah, but you know what was better for you this time is that you weren't involved in it at all.
Right, exactly.
One of the problems that Todd and I had as we were building out our business is you keep getting sucked into the business because you can, right? The fact that Todd and I were very good agents, that we were always tempted with going and doing the agent part of it. And now that you're not involved in it any. Do you still have a real estate license?
It's inactive.
Okay, inactive. Okay, so I gave mine up. Yours is inactive. So now, think of it this way: we are forced to be able to run it without any of our interaction. You cannot go in and be a real estate agent, which made it way better. I used to say, like from the beginning when I was building this out, I always used to joke around with my team members saying the best thing that could happen to me is if I lost my real estate license. That was a joke, of course. I mean, I really didn't want that to happen. But the point I was trying to make was if I didn't have a real estate license, I wouldn't be stuck doing any real estate agent work. I'd have to figure out how to make my business run 100% without me. So in a way, like you guys should all be thinking that way. Like, how do I make this work without me? Like, what if I didn't have a real estate license? What if I couldn't go in there and go out in the appointments and do all the stuff that I'm doing now? Well, you'd be forced to figure out how to make it work without you. So I'm going to say this again. If you want to have a millionaire agent business, if you really want to have this business, then you've got to stop focusing on being an agent. The more you're sucked into being an agent, the more that takes you away from having $1 million agent business. It's the business of real estate that we're interested in, right? This is a problem that a lot of our coaches have. As you know, Todd, they're doing consultations. This happens mostly with coaching members, but sometimes even with platinum members. And our member wants to talk about the transaction. The member wants to talk about, I've got this one buyer I'm working with, or this one listing, a problem listing I have. And we've instructed the coaches, we don't want you guys talking about the one-off transaction. The coaching consultation should be about the system, the business that you're building, not the one buyer or one seller that's causing you grief today.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. As a matter of fact, we should stress that specifically as a means to working on your business. When you do get on the phone with your coach, the discussion is about the system, the business plan, your plan, and the implementation of the system. That's what the discussion is about. And if it's about anything else, then you're off topic. You're not necessarily working on your business and taking advantage of what you have in front of you. So back on Leon's tool here, I remember when you turned me on to it, we jumped in there and got it, and I really can't imagine conducting business or running business without using it. Like, we need agents here in our real estate company. I can't even imagine getting agents to come to our real estate company without knowing who to get. And when I say who, it's very specific. Like, I don't necessarily want agents. I don't even want to talk to a real estate agent that's not in the area, working in the area, selling homes in the area that we're looking for agents in. That would be number one. And then secondly, the agents that do work and sell homes in that area that sell a certain number of houses, not too many, not too few. So without knowing that, then my ads and my marketing has to be general, watered down, and overreaching, because the more specific I make my marketing, the better results get. It would be great if I could put the agent's name on the ad, and with that program and system, I can specifically talk to them, and that's what Leon just said, is that you can specifically market to that one individual, and they will pay attention to your stuff versus a general help wanted ad. So that's how critical it is. And And so there are certain investments to make in your business in terms of systems and tools and leverage. This is one of them. So I want to encourage everybody to do that. So yeah, put that on the screen here, Craig. The problem with real estate agents wanting a real estate business is that they spend their time being a real estate agent.
Yeah, and what complicates things is you guys are actually good real estate agents.
That is true.
Right? Like if you didn't like it, if you sucked at it, it would maybe be easier to walk away from it, because here's the thing. Let's take listings. You guys know you're pretty good when you go out yourself, right? To go on a listing appointment, you know you're really good. You've got a high conversion rate. And you're concerned that if you send someone else out instead of you, in place of you, that they may not get the listing. In other words, your people aren't as good as you. And because your people aren't as good as you, and because you kind of like this and you're pretty good at it, you continue to do it. But that's the problem. So your business can never get bigger than you, and it always relies on you. You've got to be okay to take a step backwards to take several steps forward. You've got to be okay with knowing that the people that you hire are never going to be as good as you. But you're going to make it up in volume. So before I hired my first team member, I think it was 1990, I believe, I sold about 150 homes all by myself. I think it was 155 transactions by myself. So I did it all. So very good net, obviously, right? I wasn't splitting the commission. I was hogging all the commission, had no life at all, and that's not sustainable, right? Like working 12-hour days, 7 days a week, not sustainable. So when I built out my team, eventually I got it to the point where even though I was only getting 50% on the deals, I was splitting them 50-50. If you're doing 500 transactions every year, okay, that giving away 50%, that's the equivalent of 250 transactions doing it all by yourself. Well, I could never do 250. The most I could ever do, pushing myself into a level of insanity, was 155. How many of you would rather have 155, killing yourself, right? But you get to keep it all, but you have no life at all. Or would you rather have 500 transactions, so the equivalent of 5, you'd be getting like half, be like doing 250 by yourself, but you're not really involved in it, and you're working maybe 10 to 15 hours, and that's completely duplicatable, right? That is sustainable. So we've got to look at what is the future of your business. Can you honestly keep working as hard as you're working? And how are you going to get to the next level doing it the way you're doing it? And the answer is you can't. So you've either, a lot of agents just like succumb to that, and they're like, okay, well, I guess this is as good as it ever gets. And that's why I say you end up rowing in the same boat even 20 years later. And a lot of agents do that, right? 20 years from now, their business and their life doesn't look any better than it looks right now. It's just the same. They get more of the same every single year. So depends what you want, right? I would think everyone that's in platinum, you're on or above, you're on the webinar with us today, it's because you want to grow. I mean, that's the spirit of human beings. We want to grow. We want to improve. We want to get bigger and better and do it faster, right? So that's what the game is how do I make this thing better? Well, it can't get better doing what you're doing, especially when it just relies on you.
Amen, brother. Amen. So a couple of things here. We talked about the plan, and we talked about the systems, and we used one example of a system that we use to make an awful lot of money selling real estate. So let me show everybody on the coaching site here where you need to go to get that. I've highlighted, basically me taking Craig's stuff as a member, just like you guys, and putting it to work, copying it and implementing it. In all those steps and everything, I put it into a guide, okay? And you can see it. It's from me being a member, just like you guys, and rapid implementation of the materials. So as Platinum Coach, it's one of the first things I did put together, and it's It's about 60 pages long. It's a checklist. It's a business plan, and that was given to me by Craig Proctor, and we pass it right on to you guys. And there it is right there, the plan ID 730. Now, while I was looking at this, I noticed ID number 1442, which is the Universal Business Autopsy. Okay, because if you are a member and you're experiencing some trouble, some issues, or some problems with your real estate business right now, maybe there's not enough leads, maybe the conversion is not where you want it to be, you need that. You need ID 1442, and this is your system. This is your troubleshooting guide that our coaches use when we're helping you overcome the issues. So I'm going to download that, Craig, and we could probably take a couple of minutes if you got time and talk about that just a little bit. I'll erase my drawing tools and try to shrink.
Well, remember, I can't see anything.
Okay. Yeah, this is the Universal Business Autopsy. Okay. So I've thrown it up on the screen here for everybody to see. I gave everybody the ID number on where it's at on the coaching site. So we've talked a lot about being successful in some generalities and some specifics, and we've given you guys great perspective on that. Okay, so now real quickly in the next few minutes here, we just want to deal a little bit with the struggle, because we understand everybody needs to know that I didn't, for me personally, Craig, I wasn't always making several $1 million a year selling real estate. There were times where I was trying to figure out what I was doing wrong, even though you're telling me and I'm working on it. What made it easier is when you would ask me the questions about how I was doing things. For example, are you reaching over 50% of your leads? Was one of the questions that you would ask me. And if the answer was no, I'm not. Okay, well, there's a system for that. There's a checklist for dealing with that. Okay, and that goes directly to follow-up. Okay, are you calling them immediately and throughout the day? What does your caller ID say? Are you using *67 to block out your phone number at times? Are you asking for as many numbers as possible for each prospect when you are talking to them? Have you scheduled time blocks during each week to make your calls, or are you just kind of doing it on the fly whenever you feel like it? Are you using email only or as a last resort after exhausting all attempts? Is that the first thing you do is email, or is it the last thing? So there's a troubleshooting guide to doing this. So every one of you should have this troubleshooting guide, okay, what we call the Universal Business Autopsy, on your desk as part of your system, so that when you get stuck, okay, you can immediately go here and you can apply, okay, through the troubleshooting, our perspective on getting unstuck and moving your business forward. Okay, this is what we use in our program here with our coaches when we're talking to members and helping them get unstuck and moving forward and drilling down on what we need to work on or focus on to move our business forward. So I want to make sure everybody has that. So Craig, how did this come about, this Universal Business Autopsy?
Well, the same way the Universal Callback Script came about. So with the Universal Callback Script, at a certain point, I wanted some help in returning the phone calls and the leads. In other words, I was generating so many leads, I couldn't do it all myself. And when I hired people to help me with the Universal Callback Script, I couldn't get them to do it right. I would explain and explain and explain, and then I realized that the problem is the script was in my head, it wasn't down on paper. So once we were able to systemize it, take what was in my head and put it down on paper, now we had a system that we could transfer. The same thing happened with the Universal Coaching Autopsy. Is I knew that I was pretty good when I did a consultation with coaching members, but some of our coaches were struggling to get the same results that I was getting when I was dealing individually with the coaching member. So again, it forced me to take what was in my head and put it down on paper. So I knew exactly what questions to ask, and depending on how the coaching member answered the questions, it told me like where I should be going next. Some of our coaches were having difficulties with that many years ago, so again, I took what was in my head and I put it down on paper. So that's the lesson to be learned here, is a lot of things that are happening in our business, like we're really good at them, but it's only in our head. So we've got to take what's in our head and we've got to get it down on paper so we can transfer what's in our head to other people.
Okay. I got it. And this has been a great tool. So this is another example of system, plan and system. So if you don't get anything out of today's webinar, it's the understanding that there must have a plan to wake up every day, go about growing your real estate business, and it's a plan of leveraging the system. And you can see that within the Quantum Leap system, it is a franchise. It's a complex franchise, just like McDonald's, but it's a copy and implement franchise system. Okay, and this real estate business, this Millionaire Agent Business franchise, sits right on top of your real estate license wherever you are. Okay, and the better you are at engaging what we've got for you here, what you're paying for, the better you are at it, the faster and fatter your business grows. That's why we have a lot of very successful people created more millionaire real estate agents than any other coach or program or company in real estate history. Okay, and that's why. Okay, but that's what it takes to pull it off. So don't think that you can show up here, nibble around the edges, take our stuff, modify it, change it, show up here, show up there. It takes full-on engagement here with your coach in this system to be super successful with it. And when I say super,
well, I think to be super successful at anything takes a level of commitment. If you think most of you have hobbies, right, or a sport that you're into, if you want to become really good at that hobby, that passion that you have for whatever it is, like you being a baseball coach, like it took a lot of commitment, time-wise, thinking about it to get to number 2, right? Just want to remind you, you were number 2, by the way.
Yeah,
but anyway, a lot of people won't commit to anything. For example, Todd, you and I have been talking a lot about the ag clinics lately. So as all of you know, every Friday you've got an opportunity to download your marketing, and we take a look at it. And what we want you to download is ads from the system. So system ads, okay, your implementation of system ads. Many of you don't do that. You take the ads, you run them, and we don't see them, or you don't even let your coach see them. But that's an opportunity that all of you have is even if you have ads that are working well, perhaps we could make it work better. So for example, Todd's going to be with me on Friday, and we're going to critique some ads, and our job is to help you get maximum response from your ads. Another thing that we quite often see is, Todd, you mentioned nibbling around the edges. So members will take our campaigns off of the ad generator, and they'll take them and I guess in their minds, what they believe they're doing is they're improving them, because they'll change them. So what we'll see in the ad clinic is a variation. It's like not a copy, and you say over and over again, hey, if you can copy, you will succeed at this system. Well, we have apparently a lot of people that can't copy. The temptation to tweak it, to change it, to make it their own, I guess is so great that they don't copy it. And then we have people that submit homemade ads. What's a homemade ad? Well, it's an ad that's not in the ad generator. It's not part of the system at all. It's something that they've created, and they want to know, well, hey, what's your opinion on this ad? Well, I don't have an opinion on it because it's not ours. It's something you came up with. So that would be akin to buying a McDonald's franchise or any franchise and paying a lot of money for it, and then like changing things and not using it exactly the way they lay it out. Well, in most franchises, by the way, they would kick you out for that. McDonald's wouldn't let you change their logo or change the recipe in the Big Mac or hire people in a different way. Okay, so look, we're not kicking you out, But we do want you to know the error in that. You don't pay a lot of money for the privilege to be able to copy a proven system and then not use the system. That's like foolish, right, to do that. So we're here for you, and we want to help you. That's why we do, like, really dozens of webinars every month.
Yeah, those are going great. I want to encourage everybody to upload their ads to the coaching site. So get to the coaching site, upload your ad, and we'll take a look at it. And basically, we're just comparing your ad to the control, which is the Craig's ads in the Quantum Leap system, with understanding that their message to media to market match. So I'll give you an example here, Craig. I got in front of me an ad here from Tracy Keene. It's an ad in the news section of the paper, and it's what I call a standalone USP ad. It's his picture, your home sold at a price acceptable, you guaranteed, or I'll buy it. Call to action and offering a free report. Everything looks pretty good on the ad. The problem is the ad's placement is in the general news section of the paper. And I said, look, Tracy, the ad is perfect, but it's perfect for a different place. I said, in the general news section, you can run the same ad, but it looks like this. It's the editorial version of the Guaranteed Sale program where it says, local agent buys homes for cash. That's the ad that you run in the general news section of the paper. So it's not that Tracy's ad is wrong. There's a little more to it. Once the ad is established, there's place marketing, message to media to market match like we're talking about, and that's where the coaching, our training, the live events, your sessions with your coaches, the Friday ad clinics, all this matters. And the better you're engaged in it, the faster and fatter your business is going to grow. That's what happened to me, Craig, when I got involved with you. Everybody knows my story. I kind of, wiggled my way up to the front of the line, and you remember this. I got to sending you emails, sending you notes, and I got to know you in fairly short order. That was all designed on purpose because I didn't want to nibble around the edges. I wanted to go from wherever I was to millionaire real estate agent business as fast as I could possibly get there. It was a race. So anyway, there's a few questions here. We can answer those, and we can wrap this up if you want to.
All right, let's take the questions.
You want to read those off there, Andrea? There's just a handful we haven't answered yet.
No problem at all. I'll go ahead and read those. Okay, let's see. Ernest is asking, he says, Todd, I have the program as a coaching member. I signed up as a coaching member. Besides the agent info that's not available, what are the other upgrades over the coaching level producer?
Okay, so why don't we do this? When we get to Anaheim, one of the things I do with some of the coaching members there is I show them all of the other things that are available and what you might be missing on, what can be helpful, what maybe you don't spend any time doing that. So if it's okay, that's a pretty detailed question, and I know who answered it. I want everybody to know that we answer those questions face-to-face at the conferences, but I'll give that member a buzz and try to deal with that specifically for them over the telephone.
Yeah, it's a shame I lost my internet connection here, because that's exactly what I wanted Leon to show everybody, is because I think most of you have the basic reality program. I wanted to make it really clear what the differences were, but I couldn't see anything that he had on the screen.
Okay, Ernest also asks, if you're not quite at the hiring stage yet, is the upgrade worth the time? And I'm not sure if you wanted to answer that in private also over the phone. I wanted to go ahead and address that.
I think so, because the first thing that happens for a growing business is an overflow of it. So using it from the marketing perspective, in other words, the statistical USPs and who to market, where to market, to me are the reasons you get it. The recruiting side of it is the back end. That's what happens after you have an overflow of business. So you use it to get business, and then leverage it to get agents to handle the overflow of business. So the program does way more than just recruiting.
Okay. Mary asks, which CMS system would you recommend, as I don't have one yet, and it's critical in doing all that we are doing?
I'm assuming that's a contact management system. The best contact management system is the one you'll actually use. We've got a very special session planned when we get to Anaheim to specifically deal with that. I'll be honest with everyone, and Craig, you can identify with this, is that most real estate agents on the call today are getting leads from lots of different sources, and they're using multiple management systems, okay, Outlook, Top Producer, Success Website, Commissions Inc., and it's spread out, and people are, some even throw Infusionsoft on top of that. So it's getting spread out a little bit. So we believe that technology is finally caught up to where we can help you guys put everything in one place. So we've got a very special session in Anaheim and some big surprises to show you there. So that will help everybody better deal with that. Okay. So, but yes, I don't believe that there's really been one system that can handle the quantum leap system and all its moving parts until now, until today in history. So, so we're going to deal with that specifically face-to-face, hands-on when we get to Anaheim. It's a little complex for us to deal with over the webinar today, so I want you to trust Craig and I. That's another reason that we want you to be there. If you're not there, you're going to miss out on all that, and it might be the one of the biggest things we've ever discussed and talked about. So that's my recommendation on it. Until then, use the contact management system that you're most comfortable with using, and understand that there are probably going to be other systems you're using as well, integrating with that. So I used Agent Office because that's what Craig used. But again, it only handled our contract to close and a few other parts of it. There was still the bookkeeping side of it. There was other lead generation systems that we were, having to engage in. So anyway, but we think we've got it solved. More in Anaheim.
Hey, Florence, she would like to know where she can find all of the USPs.
All of the unique selling propositions. Wow, that's big. You know what? Here's what I would do. The first thing I would do if I'm asking about unique selling propositions, though Craig probably has some answers to that, but this is what I would do. I would go to the resources tab on the coaching site. So let me open that up. Resources, and I would go to session materials. Okay, resources, session materials. And if I'm want to really fully understand unique selling propositions, performance guarantees, and how all this ties into the quantum leap system, and let me add this. This is required. If you are a quantum leap member, okay, and all of you are, this is required reading, understanding, and application, okay, required. So get to the tools, resources, session materials, and then get down here to, okay, several that I want to bring to your attention, okay. Everybody pay close attention right here. Session number 2, coaching session number 2, selecting your target market and your unique selling proposition, critical to your success, okay. That's number 1, okay. And then the next one is session number 11, performance guarantees. Okay, all of you should have those materials printed off. You should have the webinars associated with these two flagged, okay, because this makes up kind of the basics, building blocks of elevating, quantum leaping your real estate business, these things here. So that's where I would start, okay, and then the rest of it can be found in the Platinum, in the library, file library, Platinum lead generation systems. Okay? Platinum lead generation systems in the file library. That's file library, Platinum lead generation system. There we go. All righty. So that should pretty much take care of the majority of questions. We'll get to the rest of them a little bit later. But Craig, this story continues day in and day out here from what we do. And I'm looking forward to a huge mega event in Anaheim. Oh, I'm going to be in Toronto before that for the Platinum Outside Sales Agent Workshop. That's coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Yep. So what is the date of that in August? Is it the 20th and 21st? Or is it 21st, 22nd?
Platinum OSA Workshop, August 21st through 22nd.
Okay, so talk to everybody about what's going to happen there.
Yep. So most everyone has heard the story. A few of you probably haven't, but it was several years ago. I was working with my team. I was having a conversation with you, Craig, and I said, look, I got to go. I've got everybody here, and you know, I've got a workshop I'm doing for my team. And you stopped me and quizzed me about it, and I said, yeah, at the end of every month, the last 3 days basically of every month, I spend with my team, okay, and I train them on the system that we use, specifically on from the time the lead shows up forever, for the rest of the life of that lead, to prospect, to client, and leveraging that client to get even more business. That entire circle takes me 3 days to go through all that. And you said, well, since you're doing it for your team, why don't you do it for all the Platinum members and their teams? And I said, that's a great idea. So we started our Platinum OSA workshops. And the feedback and the comments on the workshop, the OSA workshops, is that that alone is worth the price of admission into this level of our program. So that's what we do. It takes about 3 days, but I cram it into 2 long days now. We're doing it in Toronto, the next one. We move them around the country, and we got this one coming up at Toronto. So you can expect basically to show up, and it's just like you joined our real estate sales team. You're a new agent there, and okay, now what happens? Okay, and that's where we start. So get there.
Get there. Absolutely.
Well, that's going to wrap up about all the time I got there for today, Craig. And I've got to finish putting materials together for Ruth for the upcoming Anaheim conference. I'm running up against the deadline there, so I got to get and work on that. Anything else to add?
No, I just want to reach out to everyone. If you're having any challenges, you're confused about anything, make sure that you send Todd an email. Okay, let us know if you're struggling. If you're not absolutely convinced that you need to be at our Platinum meetings for whatever reason, whatever you're thinking, reach out to us so we can talk to you about that and really just give you the information you need to make a good decision on this. But we're here to help you. Everything, remember this as we wrap this up, that everything that you want to do in real estate has already been done by a ton of people before you. Okay, it's been done by me, it's been done by Todd, but our experience is not unique. I mean, we've had hundreds of members come through the program and become millionaire agents. As Todd said, no program has created more millionaire real estate agents than our program. So we know that you want to have a business because a business leads to more freedom and more time and more money in your life. And that's why you're in the program. So I want to thank you on behalf of Todd and I for being in the program, being a member. And we want to help you. We're here for you. But you need to meet us at the 50-yard line and show up on these webinars and let us know if you're struggling. Also let us know your success stories as well. And most importantly, show up at the meetings. So Todd, I apologize, lost my internet connection here and it hasn't come back. We're having a lot of storms out here, so I was sort of running blind through our webinar here today, but thanks for inviting me on, and I'll throw it back to you for some final comments.
Yep, appreciate it, Craig. It's always great. I've been learning from you since the early 90s there, 1994, I think, when I first heard your name, and boy, am I thankful I did, so I appreciate that, and thanks for all the energy that you put into it. And allowed me the opportunity here to pass some of that along to our other members. We're interested in your feedback, good and bad. Okay, so you're welcome to make comments. We've been surveying and polling you guys. We want you to be able to implement this system as easily as possible. Okay, that's our goal when we get up every day. We come in here and work with them to try to make it easy for you to implement the system that you're buying. We understand the complexity of having a millionaire, multimillionaire real estate business. We get it. So how can we make this a little easier for you? You let us know. Let me give you an email address here. You can use platinum@toddwalters.com, platinum@toddwalters.com, and send your comments there. Access those surveys that we've been sending you as well every month, and weigh in. And with that, make sure you are at the Platinum Millionaire Agent Maker Conference in Anaheim, September 17th through 19th. The one in Toronto is coming up here in a couple of weeks. I don't know if there's any seats left there or not, but the one in September is an absolutely don't miss for the team leaders here. Biggest, most amazing event we've ever put on. You won't be disappointed. So any questions about that as well, let me know. Otherwise, let's go sell some houses. We'll talk to you guys soon now. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.